Hey, Ryan here with Thanks.io. I have James Graham with Scalify OS. Hey, James.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I was hoping to have you on to talk a little bit about your Scalify OS framework. I've been digging in. I did your business assessment. I thought it was pretty cool. And I thought it might be something that some of the people I know, maybe some people who use Thanks.io and some of the people in my wider sphere might be interested in. So you want to tell us a little bit about the framework and why you developed it?
Yeah, absolutely. So where the framework comes from is it's a kind of a culmination of my years of experience of not only working at 1-800-GOT-JUNK leading operations, but also my own experience as an entrepreneur. And what I had found is the best way to scale a business is by scaling. You've probably heard this before, scaling with the exit in mind. And so to scale with the exit in mind, you have to be building value in your business. So that's the value on the left side of the triangle there. And so it's all about increasing the value from where it is today to where you want to get to. All the pieces that are in the triangle there, in my experience, are things that are going to increase the value of your business. So if you work on each one of those pieces one by one, you're building those building blocks to increase that value and then get to wherever it is you need to be in terms of exiting your business.
Yeah. And typically you're working with people who are at a certain point already. What is that point revenue wise usually?
Yeah, revenue wise, it's a huge range, to be honest. So
Mhm.
my clients that I work with, the smallest one that I would work with right now is about $1 million in annual revenue, and then the largest one is 50 million. So it's a pretty big range of small to medium sized companies, but they're all the common thread between all of them is that they're founders who have got to a point, building the business to a point where it's been successful. But to get it to the next level, they're hitting a bit of a ceiling and they're feeling a little bit trapped in their business, wearing many hats. And so the work that I do with them at the beginning is relieving them from that, relieving them from wearing all those hats, positioning themselves more as a CEO of the company, and then systematically working on these building blocks to get the business to that next level.
Yeah, I think one of the things that resonated with me was this idea that that you don't have to be working on the business every day. You can kind of step outside of it and have it run itself. Um,
Yeah.
and I guess a lot of people you run into are not in that situation yet and want to get there.
No. Yeah. I have yet to have somebody approach me for my services that is not in that boat right now. And that's one of the most critical pieces to building that value and getting it exit ready, because if you're involved in your business all the time and then you want to go and sell it, it's worth a lot less to somebody who's looking at buying it than if you weren't in it. Because if I'm looking at buying your business and I have to replace you, that's not very enticing to me. I want it to be turnkey, and I want you to be separate from the business.
Cool. So where do you usually start? And you probably want to, I guess, talk about the triangle here. You met somebody new and they're a mess. Where do you usually start to get them on that path towards stepping outside the business and making it sell for more?
Yeah, so it actually starts, it's a good question. It starts pretty much at the exact same spot every single time, which is getting the founders, the way that they operate on a day-to-day basis, a little bit tighter. And what I mean by that is typical founder that starts working with me is working 120 hours a week, something like that. And again, wearing all those hats. And so it's about optimizing their time so that they don't have to work that long, those many hours, and wear all those hats and be involved in everything. And so it's about separating themselves a little bit more from those pieces they don't need to be involved in right now and freeing up more time for themselves.
Where are those opportunities usually found for the founder to find more time?
Yeah, so it's usually in the little details of handling admin work, for example, or things that somebody else you already have on your team could probably be doing. So a lot of founders that I find are the skill of delegation is usually something that needs to be worked on right away. And so how do I offload this stuff that I really am holding on to for whatever reason and give it to somebody else to free up more of my time?
So is that the streamlined operations down at the bottom right there?
That's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It connects as well to the one at the top, founder freedom as well.
Yep.
That skill of being able to lead a company as opposed to being involved in every single little detail is something that's constantly being worked on. It's part of that top piece, and it trickles down to every one of those pieces, to be honest.
Okay, so the founder kind of frees themselves up a little bit by delegating or even hiring, I assume, somebody if necessary.
Yeah, or investing in technology, building systems that automate things a little bit more as well.
Yep. Yeah, I like that topic. Next you have Aligned Financials. You want to go there next? Is there?
Yeah. So this is at probably the secondary we go to right after we talk about the founder's time. It's about freeing up the founder's time. So first of all, that he can breathe and start thinking about these other things. But then right after that, we go to financials, and usually there's opportunities to clean that up. And so what I mean by that is I've had some clients I've worked with, smaller businesses who don't have great financials at all. And so we need to get financials. Other times they're a little bit of a mess, so we need to straighten them up a little bit more. And then it's about creating budgeting that everybody in their organization can align with, so and agree on what the budget is for certain things, and then tracking mechanisms to make sure that we're on track for that budget and on track for the profit that we hope to make this year. So once the founder has more time and they're making more money, then it frees them up more to start really focusing on this other stuff. I would say 90% of the time when I start working with them, they don't know their numbers, or they're focusing on the wrong thing. So they think they should be focusing on a big number like revenue, for example, which is obviously that's important, and then profitability is important. But sometimes it's a number that's a couple layers down that's the real driver behind the business. Like, for example, I was chatting with a client yesterday, and the number that we identified was revenue per hour. So how much revenue is each of her employees driving per hour in her business? And there's many reasons why we focused on that for her specific needs, but that's something that if you put attention to is really going to drive the business forward.
That's a scary one for some people. I'm thinking about some people who wouldn't want their revenue per hour to be known. You know who you are. I'm just kidding. All right. So you get the financials going. Predictable sales. I assume we start to talk about sales funnels here and stuff. Or yeah.
Yep. This is all about sales funnels. It connects to your question about knowing your numbers as well. So in sales is the area where I find most business owners really don't know their numbers. And so stuff like obviously there's top line sales, but there's conversion numbers. Those are really important. There's number of leads that you expect to get. There's prospects and the number of clients that you hope to get. Need to know all those numbers in detail and be planful about it so that you can predict what your revenue is going to be month by month. So usually with that, we dive into a detailed plan in terms of what it would look like over the span of the next couple years in terms of goals around sales, and then creating some automations and some more predictability around that in terms of the behaviors that you're going to have around sales, or your team is, the things that you're going to do to generate those leads and generate those sales. So that creates more predictability.
Cool. Empowered team. What does this mean? Is this culture?
A little bit of culture. Yeah. So it's culture is definitely in there. I would say that it's mostly around alignment. So let's flip the question back to you. When I say alignment, what do you think of?
I think the people on the ground who maybe aren't executives or C-suite or owners, understanding the business strategy and being okay with what they're doing.
Bang on. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So a lot of the time, leaders of companies or business CEOs, business owners will build a strategy kind of in isolation, and they'll instruct their team on what to do. But what I have found is that the best way to build a strategy, a great plan, is to build it with your team. You build it with their team. You get their input. Everyone in the organization has some level of input into this plan, and that creates buy-in and alignment. So they're all, yes, this is the plan going forward, and I agree to these goals. Then you can line up your goals for the business at the top level to their goals at each level down. And that creates that full alignment and empowers your team to go and hit those goals.
Yeah, I think maybe from personal experience, I think in a lot of, especially smaller orgs, that strategy is changing too frequently for the rank and file to even understand what it is.
Yeah, for sure. Strategies do change as well. Stuff happens in the market. Like a few years ago, COVID hit. That completely shook up everybody's strategy, right? So it's about connecting with your team consistently in a regular cadence where you're being transparent about what's going on and what the adjustments should be, so that everybody's again bought in and aligned to how we're going to move forward.
Cool. So magnetic marketing, I guess, sales and marketing usually go hand in hand, but you have that a little bit above on the pyramid, sales. And by the way, maybe I'll ask now, is there a reason why some of these items are lower down? They're like more the foundation?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
see that on the bottom right of the triangle, that word
Oh,
foundation
yes.
right there. So yeah. So those three at the bottom are the foundation of the business. Financials, absolutely, you have to have those straight. Sales and operations, these are table stakes for running a great business. Then you move up to the empower team as you start to grow your team. That's when you get into the stuff we just talked about. The magnetic marketing stuff. So yes, you would have done some marketing to generate leads for the sales in the lower part of the triangle for sure. This is more around the operational impact would have on marketing. So what I mean by that is, what I have found is that if you can operationalize your service in a way where you just blow your customers out of the water every single time, that creates a strong brand and creates more of magnetic marketing where people are going to start referring you. So that's what that means. I approach that more from an operational perspective,
Yeah.
which sounds a little counterintuitive at first, but when you have that focus on just amazing service or an amazing product that people will then refer, it really starts to snowball.
Yeah. So yeah, it's almost like viral marketing, or the where you don't actually have to spend for marketing because it becomes word of mouth.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you're using the term magnetic.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's some of what we try to do with Thanks.io, with some of the engagement stuff we do with existing customers with our cards. There's some of the thinking around that is there. Like, how do we get people to just remember we exist and to talk about us with others? Yep.
Yep.
And there's we could do 10 shows about that because there's lots of tactics, but
Sure. I'd love
yep.
to.
Yep. And then capable leadership, moving on up. I guess this is hiring people to replace you.
Yeah. So in my latter years, when I was with When I Heard Got Junk before starting this business, I had the role VP of coaching was my job. And so my job was to build a program that enabled leaders across the organization from top down. So president all the way down to manager. And if you led one person, you were part of this program, enable them to lead through the skill of coaching. And why that was important is because we believed at the time, and the organization still does, that if you develop others, then that creates exponential growth for the company. So if there's a chain of everybody being developed, so constantly learning and getting better at their job and better equipped to hit their goals, then the whole organization is going to skyrocket. That happened with that program at When I Heard Got Junk. And so that's why I built it in here. Is I've learned that it's so important to a company. So once you've nailed the 5 triangles below, then you can start really building in that program where you at the top, you're with people that report directly to you, you're constantly developing them, and they're constantly developing the people that report to them, and so on. And once you do that, then it really starts to scale your business.
So you have systems and tactics in place for that, I guess, such as building the coaching program internally. And
yeah. There are systems for leading your team and for coaching your team. So specific meetings that should be set up on a weekly and monthly cadence to develop your team. And then there's skill involved in that. So the coaching is a skill. And so there's a skill set that needs to be developed for yourself and for your team.
Gotcha. And then founder freedom. Woohoo. We are here. What does that mean exactly?
You're free. Yeah. So that's just kind of the final checkbox. So reality is that that's being worked on throughout the entire triangle. And that's the objective, is that the founder feels free. So if all 5 of the pieces down below are at 100%, operating at 100%, then the business is worth as much as it could be worth at that time. Obviously, the more in revenue you do, the more in profit you do, that's going to increase the value. But in terms of the health of the business itself, it's at 100%. Then that means at any given time, you can sell it for as much as you could possibly get for it because you're there. So again, back to what we talked about at the beginning, I like to build plans with the exit in mind with my clients. And so, but once you're there, it doesn't mean you have to leave. It have to sell the business. It just means that you're ready. And then it gives you options. That's the beauty of it, is you can decide to sell it if you want, if you're in that position, or you could stick around and you're free from the business. It runs on its own and you get paid from it. And that's great. So you have options available to you where you wouldn't have had them before.
Awesome. Okay, so I think this has been a really good run through for me. There are a few things I learned, especially the magnetic marketing distinction and stuff like that about the framework. For anybody watching, I went through the free business assessment. You'll see it up top there. It's a pretty detailed report James gives you. And it's free, so it's worth doing, right, James?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is free, and I like to offer it to anybody who's interested in it, because what it'll do is it'll give you a report that highlights the current value of your business today, the opportunity, so how much you could increase that value by, and then it'll assess the health of your business based on all the pieces in the triangle here. So it's just a really good starting point. I like to say to people that some of the stuff that you see in the report is probably obvious, stuff that you knew before, but there's probably also going to be some insights that you weren't aware of, and it might surprise you. But in general, it's just nice to have it all on paper, because it'll give you a sense of direction, regardless of what you decide to do with it, and it's yours to do whatever you will.
Yeah, and I think the framework alone even has me, and I think some people watching just thinking about, oh, where am I lacking in some of these blocks? So yeah, thanks, James. Anything else you might add?
No, I would just say, if anybody watching this is interested in doing the assessment, feel free to go to the link and fill that out. And what that does is it'll send me an email notifying me that you did it. And then I'll reach out to you and send the report by email. And if you want to jump on a call and I'll walk you through it, that's complimentary as well. Happy to do that and answer any questions that you've got.
Yeah, and I'll just say to everybody watching, I went through James's call. He's very low pressure, so it's not like some crazy sales call, and you actually get James. So you'll get a lot of value out of that. And just so we're attracting the right people, you probably want to be doing what, at least $500,000 a year in revenue?
Yeah,
higher.
I'd say at least $500,000. Yes.
Yeah. That's just who you tend to work with. You're going to have some of these systems in place for James to fix in the first place, and need to be at a certain size. Yeah,
that's a really good point, Ryan. So yeah, under $500,000, you've still got a little bit of work to do in terms of figuring out your business typically, and optimizing your finances and all that stuff. Once you get to that $500,000 point, then yeah, ready to dive into some of this stuff for sure.
Okay. All right. Thanks, James. And it is scalifyos.com/framework to get to this graph, but just go to scalifyos.com to find James.
Thanks, Ryan.